I'm 70. I avoid people now. Here's why. At 70, I found myself living a life that looks quite different from what I once imagined. Gone are the days of crowded gatherings and filling my calendar with endless events and obligations. These days, my life is quieter, simpler, and, surprisingly, much more fulfilling. You might wonder why someone would choose solitude at this stage, especially when we're often told that staying social is the key to happiness in later years. But for me, this shift towards solitude isn't about bitterness or isolation. It's about valuing the time I have and surrounding myself only with what truly matters. Reflecting on the life I've lived, I realize how much I've learned about relationships, trust, and the importance of protecting my own peace. I used to feel an almost constant urge to stay connected, to maintain friendships, and to be that person who was always available. But life has taught me that not all connections are meant to last, and as time becomes more precious, we must become more intentional with where and with whom we spend it. In this video, I'll share the journey that led me to this realization, the lessons and experiences that reshaped my outlook and showed me the power of simplicity. If you're someone who also values authenticity, genuine connections, and living life on your own terms, I invite you to stay with me. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more reflections on life, aging, and finding peace in the quieter moments. Let's dive in. 1. Time is finite and precious. There's something transformative about reaching a certain age and realizing that time isn't the vast, boundless resource we once believed it to be. In my younger years, time felt like an endless river, carrying me forward without my even noticing. Days passed freely, filled with everything and anything, and I scarcely thought twice about where or how I spent them. I assumed there would always be tomorrow to fix things, pursue dreams, or make plans with loved ones. But as I sit here now at 70, I understand time differently, deeper, clearer, and with a reverence I never felt before. Now time is not just a measure of hours and days, but a sacred resource, a treasure that cannot be replenished. Each moment, each sunrise, each quiet evening feels like a rare gift, one I'm no longer willing to squander. When I look back at how I spent my time in younger days, I remember the endless conversations that went nowhere, the frantic need to be busy, the relationships that required constant effort with little meaning. I was so intent on filling every second, believing that a busy life meant a full life. I realize now that much of that busyness was just noise, a desperate attempt to ignore the possibility that time wasn't as infinite as it seemed. With age, I've come to value stillness and simplicity over constant activity. Instead of chasing after everything, I've begun to choose the few things that truly matter, focusing my time and energy there. For instance, mornings have become a treasured ritual for me. I used to rush through them, but now I sit with my coffee, feeling the warmth of the cup in my hands, watching the gentle rise of the sun. I savor each sip, each peaceful moment, knowing that these quiet, unhurried mornings are precious. In the past, I might have thought, there's always another day for this. But now I know how valuable these mornings are. They are moments of peace and gratitude, reminders that life's beauty often lies in the simplest things. This perspective has also changed how I approach relationships and commitments. I used to feel almost obligated to maintain every connection, fearing that saying no would make me appear distant or uncaring. But now, I choose carefully who and what I give my time to. I no longer feel the need to keep up with every friend, attend every gathering, or respond to every invitation. Instead, I seek quality over quantity. I want conversations that feel genuine, time spent with people who understand me deeply, and gatherings that don't leave me feeling drained. Time is too precious to spend on shallow connections or obligations that don't align with my values. This newfound understanding has not only enriched my relationships, but also given me a sense of freedom. There's a peace that comes with knowing that it's okay to say no, that it's okay to guard my time. I used to think I had to be everywhere, for everyone, all the time. But at this stage in life, I realize that every yes I give to something unimportant is a no to the things that truly matter. I protect my time fiercely now because I understand how irreplaceable it is. I focus on my health, my passions, and the people who bring light into my life, knowing that these are the things that make my time feel meaningful. One of the unexpected gifts of aging is the realization that less can indeed be more. By letting go of what no longer serves me, I've discovered a sense of contentment I never knew was possible. I no longer feel compelled to fill every day with plans or prove my worth by how busy I am. Instead, I allow myself to live more intentionally, savoring each experience and embracing the richness of a simpler life. I've stopped chasing time, and I've started savoring it. If you've ever felt this way, if you too find yourself savoring the small sacred moments, remember, it's okay to live more intentionally, to choose simplicity, and to protect your time. And if this resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more reflections on embracing the richness of every chapter of life. Let's continue this journey together. 2. The shift in relationships. As I've grown older, I've noticed a remarkable shift in the way I approach and experience relationships. In my youth, relationships seemed to be everywhere, and I was constantly surrounded by friends, family, and acquaintances. My social circle was wide, and I took pride in maintaining it. Every friendship felt crucial, every connection worth holding on to. But now, at 70, I see things differently. Not every relationship stands the test of time, and that's not only natural, but in many ways, essential. Life has taught me that while some relationships deepen, others naturally fade, and that's okay. In earlier years, I often felt responsible for keeping relationships alive, for reaching out, for making an effort, even when the energy and connection weren't reciprocated. It seemed like my duty to be there for everyone, no matter the emotional cost. But over time, I've learned that relationships that are one-sided or drain my energy aren't ones I need to keep. Some connections, though dear at one point, simply do not fit into this stage of life. With that realization has come a sense of peace, a feeling of clarity that lets me focus on the relationships that truly matter. When I reflect on my life now, it's clear to me that quality outweighs quantity in relationships. There are people I may not see or talk to as often, but when we do connect, it feels genuine, as though no time has passed. Those are the connections I hold on to, the ones that bring light, understanding, and joy without exhausting me. Some of my closest relationships are with those who truly understand me, who share similar values, and with whom I can be completely myself. There's a comfort in knowing that these relationships don't require constant maintenance to stay strong. They are rooted in mutual respect and a shared understanding of life. However, some relationships do fade away, often quietly and without fanfare. Friends move, lives change, or people take different paths. In my younger years, I would have seen this as a loss, even a failure on my part to keep these connections alive. But now, I understand that life's journey pulls us in different directions. Some people come into our lives for a reason, some for a season, and only a few for a lifetime. Embracing this reality has helped me let go of any lingering guilt or sadness over relationships that didn't last. Instead, I appreciate them for the moments they brought, for the lessons they taught, and for the person they helped me become. There's also a profound emotional growth that comes from learning to value oneself in relationships. For years, I thought being a good friend or family member meant giving endlessly, sometimes at my own expense. But now I recognize that true relationships are reciprocal. They fill us as much as we give to them. The best connections are those where both people feel uplifted and supported, where kindness and understanding are freely shared without expectation. With age, I've come to see that setting boundaries and prioritizing my own well-being doesn't make me selfish. It simply means I've learned to value myself. Looking back, I've come to appreciate each relationship I've experienced. They all shaped me in some way, from teaching me patience to showing me the importance of forgiveness, loyalty, and sometimes letting go. And although there's a bittersweet aspect to this realization, acknowledging that not every connection lasts, there's also a profound gratitude for those that do. I hold close to the relationships that continue to grow, that withstand the tests of time, and that bring comfort, joy, and companionship. So, as I move forward, I cherish the friendships and family bonds that remain, not as a duty, but as a privilege. Each relationship that stays with me now is like a rare gem, precious and enduring. They remind me that while the path of life changes us, the relationships that truly matter will adapt and strengthen with us. These connections are a gift, enriching this stage of life with love, laughter, and a sense of belonging that I value deeply. If you, too, are in a season of reflecting on your relationships, remember that it's natural for connections to ebb and flow. Embrace the ones that uplift you, let go of those that drain you, and find peace in the quiet beauty of relationships that have stood the test of time. And if you're enjoying these reflections on aging, relationships, and life's journey, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Let's walk this path together. 3. The value of solitude. As I've journeyed through life, one of the most surprising discoveries I've made is the value of solitude. In younger years, solitude might have seemed like something to avoid, something that bordered on loneliness. The thought of spending too much time alone was once uncomfortable, almost daunting. It felt like an empty space that needed to be filled with people, plans, and conversations. But as I've grown older, I've come to understand that solitude and loneliness are not the same. In fact, solitude has become one of the richest and most rewarding parts of my life, a time for peace, self-reflection, and true contentment. Loneliness to me is a feeling of emptiness, a longing for connection that feels out of reach. It's the sensation of being disconnected, despite whatever else might be going on around you. Solitude, however, is quite different. Solitude is a fullness, a quiet joy found in one's own company. It's a deliberate choice to retreat inward, to spend time with myself and my thoughts without distraction or interruption. Solitude has become a space where I can breathe deeply, think freely, and reconnect with who I am at the core, away from the noise and demands of the outside world. In solitude, I've found a freedom that I didn't know existed. It's in these quiet moments that I discover clarity, a renewed sense of purpose, and an appreciation for life's simple, everyday joys. I relish sitting by the window with a cup of tea, watching the world go by outside, hearing the birds sing, or feeling the warmth of the sun on my face. These small, seemingly unremarkable moments are powerful because they remind me of the beauty that exists all around us if we only take the time to notice. Solitude has taught me to be present, to enjoy life's simplest pleasures without rushing or feeling the need to fill the silence. This time alone has also allowed me to grow in ways I couldn't have imagined. When we're constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to lose sight of our own thoughts and feelings, to become entangled in the opinions and expectations of those around us. But in solitude, I'm free to reflect honestly, to look back on my life without judgment, and to consider what I truly want for myself moving forward. It's in these moments of self-reflection that I've come to understand myself more deeply. I've learned to be kinder to myself, to forgive myself for past mistakes, and to let go of regrets that once weighed me down. Solitude has given me the space to reflect on the life I've lived, not with regret or sadness, but with gratitude. I see my journey as a tapestry of experiences, each one shaping me into who I am today. And in this solitude, I can make peace with the things I once struggled to understand. I've realized that every step along the way, every choice and even every misstep, brought me to this moment of self-acceptance and inner peace. And yet, solitude doesn't mean shutting myself off from the world entirely. It means choosing to be intentional with my interactions, to surround myself with people who bring genuine joy and connection into my life. When I do spend time with others now, I'm fully present, savoring each moment without distraction. I don't feel the need to constantly stay connected or fill every moment with social obligations. Instead, I've embraced the luxury of solitude, knowing that it allows me to be more present and appreciative when I do connect with others. Solitude has taught me to love my own company, to find joy in stillness, and to cherish moments of quiet reflection. It has become a source of strength, a wellspring of inner peace that no amount of external validation could ever replace. In solitude, I've discovered a contentment that isn't reliant on anyone or anything else. A contentment that's grounded in who I am and what truly matters to me. If you too are finding a new appreciation for solitude as you age, know that you're not alone. Solitude is a gift, a chance to reconnect with yourself and find peace in the present. Embrace the quiet moments, savor the simplicity, and let solitude bring you the clarity and contentment you deserve. And if you found this reflection meaningful, please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more thoughts on embracing life's journey and the beauty of aging. Let's find peace in solitude together. 4. A cautious approach to trust. As I've aged, I've found that trust has grown into something far more complex and nuanced than I ever anticipated. In my younger years, I trusted easily and freely, extending goodwill toward others with a sense of optimism and hope. I believed in the goodness of people and felt that offering my trust was simply part of building relationships. Yet over the decades, life has taught me that trust is fragile, and sometimes people do not turn out to be who we believed they were. Betrayal, disappointments, and broken promises have left their mark, making me more selective with the trust I offer. But while trust has become more cautious, I still remain open to the possibility of meaningful, genuine connections. Trust isn't lost all at once. It erodes gradually, often through small, painful experiences. Friends we thought would always stand by us drift away, or show up only when it's convenient for them. Colleagues and business partners prioritize their own gain over shared visions. Even family, people we believe are bound to us by unconditional love, sometimes disappoint us in ways that shake our foundation. Each of these experiences has been a lesson, sometimes a hard one, but each has also reshaped my understanding of trust. It's no longer something I give freely, it's something I offer with care, with thought, and perhaps most importantly, with respect for my own emotional safety. This change in my approach to trust doesn't mean I'm bitter or closed off. On the contrary, I still cherish the connections I have, and I'm always open to new friendships and experiences. But I've learned to enter relationships with my eyes open, aware of both the beauty and the potential pain that can come from allowing someone into my inner world. I balance my cautious nature with a genuine desire to connect, to share, and to trust. But this time, with a bit more wisdom. Life has taught me that trust must be earned and nurtured, and I'm no longer in a hurry to hand it out to anyone who simply crosses my path. One of the greatest lessons I've learned about trust is the importance of listening to my instincts. In my younger days, I would sometimes ignore my inner voice, the small warnings that would rise up when something didn't feel right. Out of a desire to see the good in people, I would overlook red flags or tell myself I was being overly sensitive. But with age, I've come to recognize that those instincts are there for a reason. They're a form of self-protection, a guide to help me discern who is safe to trust and who may not have my best interests at heart. This doesn't mean I go through life suspicious of everyone, or that I expect to be let down. Instead, it means I respect my intuition, allowing it to steer me gently but firmly. I've learned to pay attention to how I feel around certain people, to notice if there's a sense of ease or a tension that lingers. My instincts have become my compass, guiding me through the delicate process of deciding whom to trust. And when I follow them, I feel a sense of peace, knowing I'm honoring my own boundaries and emotional well-being. Over time, I've come to understand that trust also requires boundaries. Trusting someone doesn't mean abandoning your needs or lowering your guard entirely. It means being open to connection, but also standing firm in what is important to you. I used to believe that trust was all-encompassing, that once it was given, there should be no barriers, no reservations. Now, I see that true trust involves balance. It's about being open, but not naive, generous, but not sacrificial. Setting boundaries isn't about keeping people out. It's about letting them in at a pace that feels safe and manageable for me. Despite the experiences that have made me more cautious, I'm still grateful for the people who have shown me that trust is possible, even if it's more complex now. I think of the kind neighbor who checks in on me during bad weather, the old friend who remembers to call just to see how I'm doing, and the stranger who helped me in a moment of need. These small acts of kindness remind me that trust, while more carefully given, is still something worth pursuing. It's a delicate dance, one that requires both protection and vulnerability, but when we find people who are worthy of our trust, it's a gift. As I move forward, I will continue to embrace both caution and openness, finding balance in a world that can sometimes feel unpredictable. Trust may be harder to give, but that doesn't mean it's any less valuable. In fact, I value it more than ever because I understand the courage it takes to offer it and the beauty it brings when it's honored. If you've also found trust to be a more complex journey as you age, know that you're not alone. It's natural to be cautious, to listen to your instincts, and to protect your heart. And yet, may we all continue to keep a little space open, a place where trust and connection can still find a way in. If this resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more reflections on life, aging, and embracing meaningful connections. 5. Changes in the modern world. Reflecting on the world as it is now compared to the one I grew up in, I feel as if I'm living in a different reality altogether. So much has changed over the decades. The pace of life has accelerated beyond what I once thought possible, and technology, with all its conveniences, has reshaped the very nature of our connections. There is a bittersweetness in looking back on simpler times when relationships felt more authentic and when life was, in many ways, slower and richer. Growing up, there was a natural rhythm to daily life, one that wasn't dictated by devices or the constant pull of notifications. We knew our neighbours by name and visited one another without the need for an invitation. People showed up at each other's doors with a pie, a cup of coffee, or just a friendly chat. Families gathered often, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. There was a warmth, a sense of genuine belonging, and a trust that didn't require much effort to maintain. Relationships seemed to grow organically, rooted in shared experiences and values. Conversations were long and unhurried, filled with meaning and a sense of connection that, to me, feels harder to come by in today's world. Today, technology has transformed how we interact. It has brought us the incredible convenience of staying connected with loved ones who may be far away, allowing us to see each other's faces through a screen, even if we're miles apart. I'm grateful for this, as it lets me watch my grandchildren grow even when distance separates us. But at the same time, I can't help but feel that these screens, as much as they bring us together, also place barriers between us. Text messages, social media, and video calls can't quite replace the feeling of sitting across from someone, hearing the inflections in their voice, or simply sharing a moment of silence together. There's something irreplaceable about the presence of another human being, a richness that technology, for all its innovation, can't quite capture. It's not just technology that has changed, but the overall pace of life. People today seem constantly in a rush, always moving, always busy. Conversations feel clipped, like they're competing with an invisible clock that keeps everyone on edge. Even family gatherings, once a sacred space of connection, sometimes feel scattered, with people checking their phones or responding to messages mid-conversation. There's a restlessness in the air, a feeling that everyone is chasing something, a sense of success, recognition, or simply trying to keep up with the demands of modern life. I often wonder where that leaves us. What happens to the depth of our connections when everything around us is moving so quickly? As I look around, I sometimes long for the past, for a time when things felt more grounded, when relationships didn't feel like another item on a to-do list. I miss the days when people seemed more present, when visits were spontaneous and long, and when conversations were something you gave your full attention to. Yet even as I hold on to this nostalgia, I know it's important to accept the world as it is today. Times change, and with them, so must we. I can't bring back those slower days, but I can make choices that keep me connected to what feels real. I can choose to put my phone aside, to have meaningful conversations, and to nurture the connections that matter most to me. There's beauty in remembering the past, but there's also value in adapting to the present. I remind myself that even if the world moves faster now, I don't have to follow that pace. I can carve out moments of stillness, of presence, and of genuine connection. The world may have changed, but I can still choose to live in a way that honors what I hold dear. The past may feel like a gentler time, but today is also an opportunity to cherish the relationships that still fill my life with joy. If you too feel this shift, this sense of loss yet acceptance, know that you're not alone. We can still find ways to live meaningfully, to connect deeply, even in a world that sometimes feels too fast. Let's embrace both the memories of what was and the reality of what is, finding peace in knowing that we can hold on to what matters, even as the world keeps moving forward. And if this reflection resonates, please like, share, and subscribe for more thoughts on aging, connection, and navigating life in a modern world that often feels a world apart from the one we once knew. 6. Avoiding people to protect well-being. Over the years, I've found myself making more intentional choices about the people and situations I allow into my life. In my younger days, I thought nothing of filling every available moment with gatherings, events, and obligations. I believed that being social, being present for others, and saying yes to every invitation was a sign of a good life, a fulfilled life. But as I've grown older, I've realized that sometimes the healthiest choice is to step back, to say no, and to protect my own well-being by avoiding situations and people that don't serve me. This decision to avoid certain social scenarios isn't a result of bitterness or isolation. I don't hold resentment toward those around me, nor do I dislike being in the company of others. Rather, I've simply come to understand that my energy is a limited resource, one that must be spent wisely. There's a quiet strength in recognizing that I can choose where and with whom I invest my time. I know now that every moment I spend in situations that drain me, or with people who don't genuinely care, is time I'm taking away from those relationships and activities that truly nourish my spirit. There are people in life who, knowingly or unknowingly, bring a sense of heaviness or strain to our hearts. Perhaps it's because they're always focused on themselves, leaving little room for a balanced, reciprocal relationship. Or maybe they thrive on conflict and drama, constantly embroiling themselves, and often others, in issues that offer no peace, only tension. I once felt it was my duty to stay connected to everyone, to be the bridge, the peacemaker, the one who could smooth things over. But now I understand that this isn't a sustainable way to live, especially if it comes at the expense of my own peace of mind. By selectively choosing my company, I've created space in my life for relationships that are genuinely fulfilling. These are the friendships and family connections that bring me joy, that leave me feeling uplifted and understood. When I spend time with these people, it doesn't feel like a chore or a duty. It feels like a gift, a true exchange of kindness, support, and warmth. These connections don't require me to wear a mask or put on a brave face. Instead, they allow me to be myself, to share openly, and to feel appreciated for who I am. Making this choice has also helped me find a sense of inner peace I never thought possible. In avoiding social situations that drain me, I've carved out more time for solitude, for quiet reflection, and for activities that truly bring me joy. I no longer feel compelled to attend every gathering or stay in touch with people who don't value the relationship in the same way I do. Instead, I've given myself permission to focus on what matters most: my health, my happiness, and my sense of well-being. This isn't always an easy choice to make. There are still times when I feel a pang of guilt for not reaching out, for skipping an event, or for allowing certain relationships to fade. But I remind myself that protecting my own mental and emotional health is not selfish, it's essential. Life at this stage is too precious to spend it feeling exhausted, undervalued, or overwhelmed by obligations that don't truly fulfill me. Instead of feeling regret, I feel gratitude for the relationships that remain, for the people who bring light into my life without asking me to sacrifice my peace. If you too find yourself hesitating to accept every invitation or feeling the need to step back from certain social circles, know that you're not alone. This choice isn't about closing yourself off, but about opening yourself up to the relationships and experiences that truly matter. It's a way of nurturing your own heart and mind, of keeping space for joy and peace to flourish. Life becomes richer when we choose to spend it with people who lift us up and in environments that allow us to be at ease. And if this resonates with you, please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more reflections on embracing life, aging with intention, and finding peace in the relationships that nourish our souls. Let's continue this journey of choosing our company and our happiness wisely. 7. Embracing this chapter of life. Embracing this chapter of life has brought me a sense of peace and fulfillment I didn't fully expect. In younger years, life was often filled with an urgency to do more, to achieve, to constantly move forward. But now, at this stage, I've discovered the beauty of slowing down, of savouring each day for what it is, and letting go of the pressure to live up to others' expectations, or even the ones I once had for myself. There's a certain grace in simply being, in allowing life to unfold naturally without feeling compelled to shape or direct every moment. One of the greatest gifts of this chapter is the freedom to be authentically myself. I no longer feel the need to fit into anyone else's mold or to measure my worth by someone else's standards. I am who I am, shaped by my experiences, my joys, my struggles, and my triumphs. There is a calm satisfaction in knowing that I don't have to impress or please anyone. Instead, I can focus on living in a way that feels true to me. Embracing authenticity has allowed me to nurture the parts of myself that once lay hidden, to pursue the things I genuinely enjoy, and to let go of the need for validation. It feels liberating to live without pretense, to find joy in simplicity, and to know that I am enough, just as I am. Life at this pace is rich with simple pleasures, and I've come to appreciate them more deeply than ever before. Mornings are unhurried, with time to enjoy a cup of coffee while watching the world outside my window. The sun casting gentle light across the yard, a bird fluttering by, or the quiet hum of life outside. It's in these small, unremarkable moments that I feel the most connected to the world around me. I no longer feel the need to chase big, sweeping experiences or to prove anything to anyone. Instead, I find a quiet joy in the small, steady rhythms of my days. Living at my own pace has also allowed me to let go of expectations that no longer serve me. I no longer burden myself with lists of accomplishments or goals that once felt essential. Instead, I measure my days by how they make me feel, by the peace they bring, and by the contentment they allow. This shift has brought me a deeper understanding of what it means to live well, not by how much I've done, but by how deeply I've connected to each moment. There is a profound joy in focusing on the quality of my experiences, in cherishing the relationships that truly matter, and in living in a way that is simple but fulfilling. Perhaps one of the most comforting realizations of this stage is the understanding that life doesn't need to be constantly moving to be meaningful. I've let go of the idea that I need to be busy to be worthy. Instead, I focus on what truly matters: moments of laughter, time spent with loved ones, pursuing hobbies that bring joy, and moments of reflection that allow me to feel grateful for the life I've led. Embracing this slower pace has allowed me to see life in a new light, to understand that happiness often resides in the spaces between the big events, in the pauses, the quiet moments, and the small acts of kindness. There's a peace in knowing that each day is a chance to live fully without the pressure of proving anything. I feel a deep contentment in knowing that life at its core is about quality, not quantity. It's about appreciating what we have, being true to ourselves, and letting go of what doesn't serve us. This chapter of life feels like a culmination, a time to reflect on the journey, to appreciate what's been, and to welcome what's still to come with open arms. If you too are discovering the joy of embracing this stage of life, of living at your own pace, and of cherishing each experience, know that you're not alone. This journey towards simplicity, peace, and authenticity is a beautiful one, filled with moments of quiet fulfillment and joy. If this resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more reflections on aging gracefully and living fully. Let's continue to embrace this chapter together, finding peace in every moment. Finding joy in life's simplicity. As I reflect on this chapter of life, I'm constantly reminded of the quiet joy that comes from living with intention, simplicity, and peace. There's a certain beauty in letting go of the need to rush, to prove, or to please, and instead embracing life just as it is. These later years have shown me that true happiness isn't found in busyness or the chase for more, but in the moments that ground us, the simple ones filled with gratitude, warmth, and presence. In sharing my journey, I hope to connect with others who are also discovering the richness of a slower, more meaningful life. Each of us carries a wealth of experiences, wisdom, and stories, and there's so much we can learn from one another. So, I invite you to share your own reflections, your joys, and your lessons learned along the way. Let's build a community that celebrates aging with grace, that values authenticity, and that finds beauty in simplicity. If this resonates with you, I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue this journey together. May we all find joy in life's simplest moments and embrace each day with peace and intention. Here's to living fully and finding contentment in the journey.